I think we're live. We're live. I do see an error message in the thing. I think it's your X
Yeah.
account. Maybe it didn't go live.
Yeah. I'm going to remove it.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that, everybody. But hello, we're live. So tonight I have Dan from, let's see if I just say this right, Lions Danivore Podcast. Correct. All right. So welcome, Dan. How are you doing tonight?
I am excited. I'm stoked. Love the energy that you always bring to your channel. So I cannot wait to dive right into it. Nose first.
All right. So we're going to say hi to a few people here in the chat. We've got Linda. Hello. Rick is here from Miami, Florida, of course.
My man.
And running tap, Jeannie. Or is it Jenny or Jeannie? I think it's Jeannie, right? Hi, Brian and Dan. I guess I've never known her name. She's comments on a lot of my videos and she's on our live streams a lot, but I've never known her name. So I think that's Jeannie. I know somebody that at work that spells it similar and they go by Jenny. So I don't know if it's Jeannie or Jenny. I'm a little confused, but we're going to say Jeannie. And if I'm wrong, you can correct me in the chat. It's correct. Okay, there we go. Good. Nice. All right. So welcome. Holly is also here. So hello, Holly. All right. As you come in, if you want to say hello in the chat, go ahead and do so. If you have a question for us, put a capital Q in front of it so it's easy to see. And Dan, let's get started. If you can introduce yourself a little bit to everybody. I know some people probably know you because you have your own channel, but why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and tell us how you've come to find this way of eating? So
absolutely. Number one, thank you, Brian, for inviting me on to this awesome channel. Great pod as always. So for me, where I found carnivore was through my brother. My brother Joe. Him and I, we suffer from the same thing. People call it an addiction, food addiction. We call it a food disorder because it is not right that we continue to eat a certain way and not get satiated. And then not even half an hour later, we're back in the fridge eating all this processed food. So for me, the turning point was a health scare, right? And this happened about in late 2024. And what occurred was, let me retrack. I was always yo-yo dieting, all the time. I did the whole keto and it worked, but then somehow whenever I would reintroduce certain foods, even an apple, even something where the sugars are good, I would fall back into this whirlpool of bad eating habits. But then when I saw my brother Joe lose all this weight, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And he started talking and I'm like, this is crazy talk. What again? No vegetables? He's like, no vegetables, no fruits, no nuts, no nothing, just meat. I'm like, all right, man, that is not going to be for me. Then 3 months later happened where I had a big time health scare where I unfortunately started going, not to get graphic, but there was blood after number 2. Right? And I'm like, hey, what? That's not normal. But I was severely overweight. I was close to 250 pounds, right? But I just didn't care. I knew that I had to do something. But I was in this cycle where I would go to work, do what I needed to do. Lunchtime, I would have, your tuna wrap because those are healthy. And then after I would leave work, I would go to the deli or a pizzeria and I would just overload consume and then walk all the way to the car, have this high then go into a 7-Eleven, have like wings, because everyone needs protein. And I would be like in a certain sense of like my eyes rolling back and like crashing while I'm driving. And then when I get home, I would eat, home cooked meals, something that my wife is amazing at. But then I would binge with what the kids have, right? The French fries, all the dipsy doodles for all my 1980s gang there, and then I would hit the couch and just my eyes would roll back and wait for the kids to go to sleep and my wife, and I would go and finish anything off, like ice cream, done. It's a wrap. I would eat the box. And this would be an everyday occurrence. So now this health scare occurs, and I'm like, all right, I got to do something. So I pick up the yellow book, right? The yellow pages or whatnot, and I look for a GI doctor. And the first one that says, hey, we'll see you today, I go, I wait 4 hours, I go in, he doesn't examine me, he's just typing away. And he says, we got to do a colonoscopy. And by the way, here is some probiotics that you got to buy on Amazon. But I have some freebies here. I'm like, all right. So I go on Amazon, and these probiotics were not cheap. They were like about $180.
Wow.
So again, you're desperate. Like at this point, like not only me, so many people, when they get it into a crossroads, you're like, okay, anything, whatever I need to do. So I bought him. And he says, now, when you leave here, you have to go to a blood drawing center. We need a complete blood count. We have to just do everything. Oh, Lance is the man. What's up, Lance? And so I get out of the office. I go into my car. It's pouring. And it's October. And here in New York, when it's like the middle of October, it's very misty, it's hot, and it's just not fun. So I'm in the car, I'm looking on my GPS where to go, and I finally park in to the blood center, get out of the car, and it's closed. And I'm like, ah. And again, all these things are happening to me, right? Like all these, the food addiction, the blood in the stool, and waiting 4 hours. You would think I would learn my lesson, but now as I'm walking out, I see a pizzeria. I cross the street. You would think that there would be a light bulb, but no, this is the addiction kicking in. I go in, I order, I think it was like 2 slices of pizza, a spinach roll, a grape soda, and I'm outside eating this. I scarf it down because it just tastes so good. It feels good. Endorphins, everything's just highlighting like July 4th inside. Blah, 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 blah. I finish it, and then I go back inside and I order something else. Now I'm walking in the rain to the car. No umbrella, no nothing. I go into the car and I start driving home, and there was an epiphany moment. He said, you're a dad, man. You're a husband. When is enough enough? Like, are you not waking up yet? Because you're going to be going to the bathroom after you digest all this junk. You're going to be not surprised of what you're about to witness. That's the whole reason you went to the GI doctor. When are you going to make this happen? So now when I got home, I said to my wife, hon, look, I did the appointment for the colonoscopy and the endoscopy for 4 weeks. I want to try something. I want to see if this works out. And I said, what if I try what Joe's doing? Just for, I don't know, a week. Me and him, we run parallels. And, I have 4 brothers, by the way. And me and him are the closest when it goes to microbiome in our ways of eating. My wife is like, look, it's what you're describing is high fat, no vegetables, no nothing. you don't think this will exacerbate it? And I was like, you would think, yeah, you're right, hon. But Joe claims it's amazing. So I went on this journey of watching Dave Mack, Kerry Mann, Dante Ferrigno, who is a powerhouse, all the big names, all of them. Okay. First night, I always had sleep issues. I slept like a baby. My wife was like, "Yo, you didn't snore," and I'm like, "I snored, like I don't know, yeah." And you slept right through. Normally, I always wake up at 3 a.m. Then the first week, I had this energy, this wild energy. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness, it didn't work out. It didn't do anything of that nature. Second week, the bleeding stopped. Third week, my mind is working. I don't know how to describe this, but everything was functioning. The synapses, all the neurons were like, hey, it's been a while. And then the night before the colonoscopy occurred, and I did the whole thing, Brian, the whole thing. Well, people that I talk to, they're like, oh, did you drink that nasty stuff, that white fluid? I'm like, what white fluid? And they're like, it's a white fluid or something. What did you drink? I'm like, the doctor told me to buy a gallon of water, buy the biggest thing of Miralax, and funnel the whole thing in there. Yeah, I looked like a prune afterwards. I did the whole thing. And then the morning of, right? And I said, I sat my wife down and I said, hon, I know I got to go for an endoscopy and a colonoscopy. And what I'm about to say, this is not medical advice. Everyone has their own journey, of course. I said, hon, I think I'm healing. I really feel I'm healing. I don't think that it's necessary for me to have a colonoscopy or an endoscopy. I don't think so. My wife looked at me straight up and she said, this is what you're feeling. This is your gut health. This is what you want to do. And I've seen changes in you, but you have to stay on this path. I said, yes, I think that's my best decision. And I want to do that. So I called the hospital and they're like, okay, not a problem. When you're ready, we just call the clinic. I said, okay. I called the clinic. I kid you not, Brian. I kid you not. She says, you can't do that. You can't cancel. There's people depending on you. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. How do you talk to a patient like that? I said, you just fortified my decision because number one, it was the $180 probiotic. You found me at my vulnerability. Now that I was on the fence, now it's a guilt trip. When does it end? I hung up the phone. I told my wife, and my wife said, so your inkling was right. I said, yeah, this is wild because I have this sixth sense, and it was at the beginning of it. Now that sixth sense is stronger, believe it or not. And to me, it is spiritual. I'm Christian, and it is that. I can control my emotions. I can control what I'm about to say, the narrative, things that I would waste my time on, the petty stuff that I would harp on and I would think about. It would be like just a mental Rolodex, like, oh, I remember when this person said this. I don't remember. And you make your own kind of little rated PG-13 kind of movie in your head. And it didn't happen. Nothing happened. It's just going on and on and on. What if this person says this? What if that person says this? The reaction. Now it's just living life. And obviously, I do have my struggles here and there, but it's a different way of a lifestyle. And I love it. That's my story.
Cool. So how long have you been doing this now?
So this is going to be 16 to 17 months, right? So this was October of 24. Did a full year, obviously the 2025. We did road trips. We went to Dominican Republic. Didn't cheat. I tapped into like my fasting. Whenever we do a road trip, I'm bringing my air fryer. So I have my like R2D2 guy coming with me everywhere. And Dante Ferrigno gave me that idea. And I'm like, all right, this is great. All I have to do is just bring frozen meats and whatnot, or just go to a supermarket, throw it in there, and just hope that the fire alarms don't start going off at the hotels.
Cool. All right. So yeah, you're about a year and a half in then. That's great. And so you mentioned at first you were just eating. You weren't doing any working out or anything. But do you work out now?
So the thing is, when I was on this for about 3 months, I had this plethora of energy, like wild. I'm 44, right? About to be 45, but not really, about to be 25. That's how I feel. I feel really young, and it's the wildest thing. So 3 months into it, I'm like, you know what? I have a Smith machine here. You know, I don't go to the gym. I have everything that I need here. I'm like, let's start this out. And I started one day after another. And believe it or not, like these are my 12-week programs. Every morning I go, check it off, make sure. And I'm not going crazy. Like I'm not going, powerlifting. Just to maintain, and maybe some days I might feel a little stronger. I'll just push it a little bit, but not to the point when I was 16 years old trying to impress everyone and look at my physique. There's none of that nonsense. I come here and I know exactly what to do, the movements that I'm doing, and it has become part of my life. Like I know there are days that I just don't want to work out. I'll wake up 5 a.m, 5:30, and I'm like, no, I don't. But there is that sixth sense. No, you committed to this. Wake your butt up, go downstairs. It's only going to take 45 minutes. Let's get to it. Your family needs you. Your job needs you. Don't let us down. So I'm like, all right, let's rock and roll. Have my coffee, read my biblical scriptures, and I come downstairs and I'm ready to roll.
Okay. I want to bring up this one comment here. Yeah. Jeannie put it in here when you were talking about the probiotics. What? $180. Wow. That's the same thing I was thinking, like, oh my gosh, $180. So the doctor said you had to take those.
Right. It's a special probiotic. You have to do it because obviously you're bleeding. So I said to him, all right, hold on a second. Are you going to check me out? Like maybe there's something topically that I can't see. No. I can't do that. We won't be able to see anything. I said, how do you know? How do you know if you didn't check what's under the hood? He said, a tailpipe. I said, he's like, no, I can't do that. I'm like, all right, I guess, but you have to buy this. You have to take this. And I'm like, okay. And again, when you have someone at that point in their life, that thing could have cost $800. Your mind is not working right when you're on the standard American diet. You get fooled so quickly that you go with whatever they're selling. And that's how I have been all of my life, eating like this. You're so fog-headed, you can't even look through the clouds. I appreciate that, Rick. You know, I love how I've never been this thin, fit. Man, I'm probably since I would have to say 15.
Wow.
And I'm at 181 pounds. I still haven't, I did reach my goal of 180, but I want to get to 175. I want to get to 170. But, and then at that point, definitely maintain. It's just, I want to always be under 200 because I gain weight really quick, Brian. Like I know, like when I go to Fogo de Chao, right, like a Brazilian steakhouse, which I like a lot, but I'm so sensitive with seasonings, which I do like salt, a little garlic pepper, that's fine. But I know those places, they put something else. They have to. I taste it. And I also was in the restaurant business. Let me tell you, they got to pay their bills. They need you coming back. And I remember speaking with a good friend of mine who worked at a French restaurant. He says, we have a lot of people coming back. And I'm like, yeah, your food is delicious. He's like, well, we use MSG. I'm like, wait, I thought it was like Chinese restaurants. And he's like, no, monosodium glutamate, you put that in dirt, you'll be missing half a yard. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, it's highly addictive and it raises the level of taste so much. That's why whenever I go to like, these steakhouses or whatnot, the Brazilian one, the picanha tastes so good. Like beyond how I make it. I make it the same exact way. My family's from Argentina. So Brazil and Argentina, we're very alike. I have my grill in the back where it's an open flame. So I'll put it on the little spigot and whatnot. I do the same thing. I put my salt on it, the Redmonds. Oh, taboo. Oh my God. God forbid we're talking about Redmonds. Oh, yeah. What
it's okay, I use now? Redmonds too.
Yeah, all of a sudden people are making videos as if we're putting gunpowder on our steaks. It's out of this world. But you know what? It is what it is. I have no qualms against anyone putting videos. But I put that on, and after I eat it, I feel good. I'm all right. It is what it is. And I do prolonged fasts too. I go about 20, 22 hours a day, and when I eat, I enjoy my food. Like I literally enjoy my steaks, my bacon, the eggs, all that good stuff. What did I have today? I had a rack of lamb or whatnot, So it was really good. Like I enjoy it, as opposed to how I was before, where it was nonstop. I like my wife would buy like Chinese food, and I would be a glutton for it. I would break the fast. I would break this and that in years past. Now it doesn't faze me. Like I know my why. Like I'm like, I hope the kids enjoy it. I hope my wife enjoys it. That's great. Like I never want to take things away from them. I want them to enjoy life too. But I also want the kids to say, I see Dad put a drive within himself to get to this goal. And if he can do it, then I could attain that. I could have that moving forward if I ever have to use that kind of discipline. So I think it's a cascading effect, carnivore does. And I went full lion the first probably 6 months, and I loved it. I'm not going to lie. I love lion diet. But right now I'm more carnivore than anything else. And I'm cool with that, and sometimes I'll fluctuate.
Okay. Donna Ray is here. Hello.
Hey.
All right. So I was going to ask you, and you touched a little bit that you did lion diet. So today you said you're more carnivore. And you talked about eating lamb today, but like what would be kind of typical for you in a day? Like, is it just one meal or is it multiple meals in, like what type of meat, I guess, are you eating?
So normally I wake up, I'll have my cup of coffee with, some half and half, some heavy cream. And I am an addict, most likely. I love my coffee. All right. So like I'll have my first cup, and then on my way to work, have another, get to work, have another. And I don't know what it is. I just enjoy it. go through the entire day, but I know my energy. My energy is not coming from the coffee. It's just, I enjoy it, I guess. And there is no down blip, like it's a constant level of energy. And then 12 o'clock comes and I see everybody going to lunch. Everybody goes to lunch. And sometimes I go to the cafeteria where I work and I'm looking, and it's not judgmental anymore. It used to be. I used to be, oh my goodness, how can people eat this? It is what it is. But I look at it and I'm like, I know what's in it. So I let that go, come back to work. And then around 4 o'clock, I see people like kind of crashing. And it's not just where I might go for a walk and I see people and I still haven't ate anything, nothing. Then I leave work at 5. I get home by 6:30. Traffic is not fun in New York. When I get home, I'll have either a ribeye, a New York strip, all in the air fryer. It's a freaking game changer. Ground meat, if anything, some bacon, some eggs, but it would be just a one-time deal, right? So I'll place a ribeye in the air fryer, put the little probe in there, 132, 135. I can't eat that stuff raw. I know that there's a lot of people that love like eating raw stuff. God bless you. I cannot do that, or organ meat. Not a fan. Not a fan. But when I'm done, I'll have some water or some seltzer, and then just keep it going. And I'm good. And I feel like that meal sustains me for the following day. It gives me everything that I need. And then I would go to bed, watch a movie or a movie. I have no time for movies. I'm on YouTube. And when I'm eating my steak, maybe I'm the only one that does this, but that's fine. Like I'll put Dante Ferrigno, one of his like clips of him cooking a ribeye. And I'm very sad, very sad. Just a one-on-one with me and Dante, because the kids and my wife, they already ate. They're like, all right, they're doing their own thing. But that's my typical day. Now on a weekend, it's a little different. Weekend, if my wife makes some like eggs or whatnot, I'll have a little bit. Nothing crazy. But I do realize that on the weekends, I eat earlier than 6 or 7 o'clock. I'll eat like probably at 5 and I'm good. Like it's out of my head. But once in a while I'll have a snack, which I don't eat. I don't use loosely the term snack. Like snack is out of my vocabulary. But I'll have like, maybe I'll make like little burgers or whatnot, no cheese, I haven't had cheese in the same period, a year and a half. And I'm Italian. We live off of cheese, and I love cheese. But there's a little bit of a fear of going back. And I think, sometimes I get into a conversation with individuals and they're like, you shouldn't be fearful. You should always dabble a little bit if you want, just to test it out, experiment. I don't think that's a good idea in my case. Like in my case, knowing how sensitive I was, I think I would fall back easily. Like I would lose all this. I would lose the mindset. I would lose the drive. Because maybe for some, it's easy to hop back on as if nothing happened. There's a chemistry that goes on within me. There's a biological offset that happens when I introduce these foods that I have not introduced in a while. So that's why I think of, it's like I'm very all or nothing. Either I'm going to eat cheese and destroy myself and just fruit, because every little thing I look at it as a gateway. So whether it's a little grape, which are sugar bombs, That's it. I'll find myself eating Chips Ahoy, a sleeve of Oreos, and nonstop. Like I know I would be back in a place that I would be regretting, knowing that I just came from there and it took me so long.
Yeah. I know when I was on your channel, I don't know, was that about a month ago? I think we were kind of talking a little bit about this, the addiction piece of it. And that's a real thing for a lot of people. I feel it a little bit too. I don't think I have it as badly as some people, but you know, it's kind of that analogy that I use a lot with saying, you know, you got somebody that is addicted to alcohol. They don't just have a little bit here and there, right? They completely abstain from it. They don't. So I completely get that idea of not wanting to try anything that might put you back down that road. Makes a lot of sense.
It does. I mean, the case in point, right? Like we're doing a Euro trip this August, right? We finally are doing something that we've been saving up for years, right? And we're doing Italy, France, and I hear a lot. You're going to be in Italy. You're going to have some pasta, right? And I made my decision. I'm like, no, I'm not. And they're like, but when in Rome, you know, just eat a little bit. You're going to be there. And I'm like, but I'm recovering. Yeah, but there's no GMOs and I can't risk that. Like I can't. Well, some wine. Why? Like what? For the taste, to say that I was there, and my whole intention of going to Italy and France is a completely different perspective and mission. Number one is to have a great time with my family. But number two is to question things even that much more when I go there. And I see, you know, Notre Dame, when I see the Vatican, when I see all these monstrosity buildings, I want to ask questions. Just the same way how I asked before coming into Carnivore and understanding the truth. Who built this? Oh, well, that's a very simple. I'm like, there were no power tools. How? What kind of civilization was there? Oh, well, the Romans were some of the Egyptians. This. I can't accept so many things nowadays. I can't, because if I did accept so much of the narrative, it brings me back to the standard American diet. Follow the pyramid. A lot of carbohydrates, a little bit of meat, a little bit of fat. Got to eat your nuts and grains. You got, don't question, just eat. Just don't question, eat. This has completely changed my psyche. I'm questioning everything. Oh, Lewis is the man, my fellow New Yorker. What's up?
Yeah. So, you know, it's funny because you bring that up saying that people are like, oh, you can eat pasta or whatever. I think there's a lot of people that do this. And I will say, I used to be that person a long time ago, that when I'm going on a vacation somewhere, it's kind of centered around what kind of entertainment, AKA food, is going to be involved, right? Mm-hmm. Like there used to be, when with my wife and kids, when the kids were younger, it was like, okay, we're going to go here for the week. And my wife was always very good at planning things out. And part of that was how we would plan our meals that we were going to eat, where we were going to go to eat, and so forth. And I think a lot of people do that, you know, and it's just a completely different mindset when you get to this way of eating, the carnivore and so forth, that you're no longer doing those things for the food entertainment. You're now going on those vacations with to me, almost a little bit of a deeper meaning, which kind of sounds like what you were talking about, the deeper meaning of seeing all the buildings and so forth and how they were constructed in the past and all that stuff.
It's true. You nailed it. Exactly. You're 100% right, because that's how it was when I went to DR last year. Last year, it was an all-inclusive. I've never been to an all-inclusive. We went to celebrate my father-in-law's 70th birthday. So there was a lot of people there, a lot of buffet foods. But for me, it was more like feeling the sand. I know it's going to sound so weird, but just being on the beach, feeling every wave, enjoying the breeze, playing volleyball, and seeing things so clearly. And yes, my family's having a blast, cocktails, this and that, constant food, coconuts, and have some. No, I'm okay. I'm good. Like, just to have that ability to say, I'm okay. It just made me feel you still got this, no matter where you are, your house here. Like, that's why whenever I hear, but there's a lot of food in the house and I can't escape it, I feel it has a deeper meaning. I feel this is our house, this is our temple. And we're the gatekeepers. What goes in, what goes out. I can't control what happens in these four walls, because my kids, if they want to have a snack or popcorn, go right ahead. Chinese food, like I said before, my wife, that's fine. But it's me. I have security guards here that says, no, that's not allowed in here. Enjoy, that's not allowed. So to rewire my mind, that to me was the biggest thing of this. And I have to be honest, I'm not out of the woods yet. Like, I'm not 100%. I checkmated this demon. It's an everyday struggle. Every day I have to remind myself of the why, because there's temptations everywhere, but how I'm attacking those temptations. Nope, that's not for me. A bad thought that crosses my mind, right there, I pray, I capture it, and I let it go. All these things that happen to us on a daily motion, how am I making sure that it's not affecting me? Like, I have that connection now, and it's truly wild. So I do apologize that I'm rambling on.
Oh, no, you're good. No. Yeah, you're good. Let me ask you though, excuse me. When we were talking before about how often you eat, so basically it's once a day. Do you do any extended type of fasting where you might fast for like 2 or 3 days, or are you pretty consistent with eating every day? Like once a day?
I want to do a 2-day fast, 3-day fast. I did it once in my life. I did a 76-hour fast. With this way, I still have to train my mind to do that. And I really want to do it. I really want to do an extended, even a Dr. Kilt's kind of fast where it's 15 days. And I know people might be like, oh, that's excessive. No, it's not. There's something about fasting, of sacrificing food for a nutritional, spiritual benefit. There's something there. That's where I feel that there's a block right now. There's a certain block where I want to, and there's something prohibiting me from doing that. Like, every morning I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. Then when I come home, I guess it's being conditioned where I want to eat, but I'm truly hungry. It's not like how I was before. But I do need that. I need to prolong a fast of at least 48 hours to 72. I would love to.
Okay. I will say I was on carnivore for over 3 years before I did my first fast past maybe 24, 26 hours.
Oh, wow.
Um, now, so let's see, I'm about 2 months short of 4 years now. And I've done some fasting over the last 4 or 5 months or so. I've gotten a little bit better with it in the last few weeks, but I'll do like a 48 or 72 hour fast. And one of the things I find is as you're getting around that 24-hour period, it gets tough.
Mm-hmm.
You get hungry, and it's probably because you're used to eating by then, right? So you kind of get hungry and you're like, So you get past that, and maybe 26 hours or so, I get past that, and then I seem to be pretty good. Right now, let's see, I'm about 33 hours in right now. Earlier today, there was a time period I was feeling pretty hungry, and I was like, oh, is this going to mess me up? Am I going to end up eating today? And I didn't. I stayed away from it. And now I'm in a good spot. So, like I said, I'm like 33 hours. I plan on going 72. So I guess today's Wednesday. I don't think I'll be eating until like Friday or something like that. I've been trying to do a 48 or a 72-hour fast once a week.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is it kind of helps with the grocery bill because there's 2 or 3 days that you're not eating.
That's
but
right.
I will say though, I was over 3 years before I did it. So I like that perspective that you want to get there. And I totally understand the idea of that you haven't been able to get there yet. I think you just need that time, make sure that you're healing yourself and staying on the right track. And then when you feel like you're ready, you'll be able to do it. You're probably feeling the same thing that I always get, that 24-hour period you're used to eating, and it's like, I really want to eat. But it seems like you get past that and it goes a lot smoother. Now I will say, I've never gone past like 72, maybe 73, 74 hours, somewhere in there. And those last few hours for me can get pretty tough. I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry, but I'm so close. I'm just going to go 72 hours because they say that's pretty ideal,
Right.
So
that's impressive, Brian. Impressive and encouraging. So I appreciate that, because that's the first I've ever heard that someone would be, that 3 years in and then going to that. Because sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, am I not able to do it because my body is saying to me, not yet? Or is it that it's just not for me? But I'm like, it's something that I have in my mind that I want to do it, though there's always like a blockade, Oh, yeah. This was very nice. Thank you so much for this. That was, love that. I think it's important to have.
Cynthia said that, and Coach Eden's also said, you're not rambling. I love your perspective.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, you see this a lot with people that eat this way, but you've really got that calming voice. You're not really like, really, I don't know, how do I want to say, it's like really intense, whatever, you got more of that calm, laid back approach, which is something that has been better and better for me as I've gone on. Before carnivore, I was more that like intense guy. I live in Northern Virginia, so kind of like New York, maybe not as bad, but kind of like New York, where we have a lot of traffic. And I would get so upset with the traffic, and now I don't get upset anymore.
Right.
It's that calmingness with eating this way, I guess.
I agree. Before going into this, like, sometimes people would mistake me for like a soul cycle instructor. Like, oh my goodness, what's going on with this guy? But yeah, I would have that same like fervor of attitude, spiking, calming, spike. There would be no kind of even keel type of personality in conveying words. I feel right now it's constant, it's consistent. Like, I choose when to ruffle some feathers. Like if there's
Mm.
certain things that I feel passionate about, I'll articulate it in a way where it doesn't come off condescending, but it comes off as maybe we should work something out, And I know for me personally, like with my marriage has gotten even that much better with this. I know when I'm at a certain impasse in years prior, my emotions would take over and I would be so stubborn and not listen to my wife. Now I listen, and before I'm impulsive to react, I tell my wife, let me go for a little walk. Go for a walk. It's nothing against you. Don't think that I'm just leaving you or whatever, or just leaving the conversation. Let me regroup. Let me just walk for a second. Because I might say something that I'm going to regret as in years past. So, and she's like, no problem. Who are you again? like, right. Like a different person. And that's great because now I come back refreshed. I diffused any issue that came into my head, and I would say, all right, so I didn't see eye to eye with her. Why would she even think this? And then I'm like, no, because she brings up a good point. I have like a conversation with myself, and it's soothing. And when I come back to the table, we come up with even better solutions, my wife and I. And I think that aspect helps a lot. That carnivore and the lion diet has helped me with, of just trying to make sure that bridges aren't burnt, that perception isn't king. It's reality. It's being factual. It's being honest, being truthful, being transparent, and to talk things out and to communicate, as opposed to in years past. I'm not just talking about my marital way of how it was, but just in general, I would always give in. I would be afraid to fight against the machine. I would always be inquisitive, but what if this happens? What if that? No, now I'm saying, what if that happens? How are you going to react? What are you bringing to the table in order to make this better? Like, I don't want to be what I was before, complaining, never bringing a resolution to the table, whether if it was my job or just talking behind people's backs, that I knew that was how I was. Not anymore. If I have a situation with someone and I don't see eye to eye, I'll question, but in a way where it's respectful. Just to know where the perspective comes from, as opposed to how it was before, where I wasn't comfortable. And I think where many of us, before having that enlightenment, we get to a certain point where we're not comfortable with ourselves, and food has a lot to do with that. There's a lot of impeding progress that happens when you're eating all this processed food, all these GMOs, all these things, and not allowing your body to detoxify itself by fasting. I think, to me, the biggest part of carnivore was the fasting aspect. Even the 20 to 22 hours, for me, that was the biggest one. To me, that was allowing the attribute of self-control, of saying no. Even though I still haven't gone to the 48 to the 72 hours, just to get to that 20 hours of saying no, making sure that I'm telling my mind who's in control. I think that helps a lot in other avenues of life.
Yeah. So when I started carnivore, I looked at how a lot of people were eating one meal a day, and I was like, there is no way I'm ever going to be able to do that. I was used to being the guy that was eating 3 or 4 meals a day and snacking and so forth, right? which is one of the reasons why I was so big. But I just said, like, look, there's no way I'm going to be able to do one meal. So I tried to start with 2 meals, and that worked really well. And then I kind of went down to 1 meal. And at different times over the years, I've switched from 1 meal to 2 meals and back to 1 meal and stuff like that. But it's funny as I look back, and it's like it is so easy to do that now.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, were you kind of the same way where when you first went into this, you were like, I see people eating 1 meal a day, but there's no way I'm going to be able to do that?
Yes. So that is one of the key parts as well. I'm like, man, how am I going to do this? And I remember one of my other brothers, he had said, in order for you to succeed in this lifestyle, you have to inundate yourself with as much information and testimonials as possible. So he put me on to Dave Mack and Kerry, of course, aforementioned, Dante Ferrigno. And I started listening to all of these experiences. And one of the biggest things to me was, I'm not alone. I'm not this outcast. This is happening to so many people. How did it work for them? And then, hearing all these interviews, same thing. When I first got into it, it seemed like, climbing Mount Everest, but it was just all about putting one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. And one of the big ones for me was positive thinking and changing my vernacular, placing the right words into the ether, like understanding that what I'm saying, it'll happen. Now, if I make a mistake and I'm like, oh, so stupid, God forbid, I'm throwing that out there. Stupid. And it comes back. And the more I say it, the more I believe it. Now I'm saying, it's okay. You made a mistake. You're going to get better. Let's get better. You're great at this. You got this. And not only that, encouraging others. Like, that to me is the biggest thing of my life, is making sure that I'm uplifting my neighbor, my wife, my kids, people that I don't even see eye to eye with. And that to me was something that allowed me to focus more on that than eating the 3 times a day, 4 times a day, redirecting my focus and the energy. I'm reading this really old book called Think and Grow Rich, right? And it's not only about money or anything. It's talking about, there are things in this paradox, this world, this realm, that when you throw goodness out there, what you want, you could attain anything. And it's true. Like, I remember when I was out of shape, even before Carnivore, I would look in the mirror and I would say, one day I'm going to get to 180 pounds. One day I'm going to look good. One day I'm going to have all this brain fog out of my head. And I would say it would be like an incantation over and over, over and over, over and over. It didn't happen overnight. It took probably 6-7 years, but it came back in a form of, how the heck did this happen? It's Carnivore. That's what this is about. And it is. This is it. Yeah, it's amazing. 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 Love this book.
Yeah. All right. I want to do something before I forget. So for people that aren't familiar with your channel, here's your channel name, at Lions Danivore Podcast. So go check it out. I know you do a lot of live streams. I think I've seen a few other videos on your channel. So while people are getting the chance to check out your channel, whatever, or write down what the channel name is, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing with your channel.
Absolutely. So I'm doing a lot of interviews as well. I had the pleasure of having Brian on about a month ago. This actually started last year, but I was on a different podcast. It was, if you could tell, I'm a Jet fan. Carnivore doesn't cure everything, people. So unfortunately, I'm still a fan of this god-awful team. But it was the off season last year. And I was like, how can we, and I was at the height of my carnivore transformation. I was talking to my co-host. I'm like, what if we do a nutritional show just for the off season? And my co-host was like, all right, have at it. It's all yours. So I brought on Dante Ferrigno, Kerry, Dr. Sean Baker, all these guys. And I was like, wow, this is so amazing to open this portal of education. And then as time went on, I noticed that the subscribers were kind of dropping because it was a sports show. And I thought I was doing a service, like something good to showcase, hey, look, all this beer and wings and all that stuff, you could change your life right now. You dedicate 17 weeks of your life from September to December. If you could dedicate that same amount of time, you could change your life. So after having like probably 10 episodes, kind of fizzled out, and we went back to our normal broadcasting schedule of talking about this nasty team. Anyway, as everything went on, at the beginning of this year, I thought about it. I said, my passion is really to help people, to talk about the truth, to share other people's wisdom, other people's experiences. People need to know what is truly going on with the United States, with different parts of the world. And diet has a lot to do with this. I spoke to my good coworker on the Jet podcast, and I said, would you be okay if I start my own? And he's like, have at it. And from that point on, I began to cook live. Like I said before, my family's from Argentina. We have this enormous Santa Maria grill where it has the wheel, so it's open fire. I'm going to be doing a lot of that live. So if you have any questions or whatnot, we're going to, take the Q&As. But if I'm cooking or whatnot, I would be filming. So it's going to have like a little bit of everything, but very open-minded, something where just bring everything in. Like I had the opportunity of interviewing Butter Bob on Sunday, and, he's talking about high protein. And there's so many things with the carnivore police that comes in and, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, it's not about that. It's about learning from each other. That's how we got here in the first place, is we have to understand each other, understand the differences, bring them to light, and not to judge. Oh, how dare you ate this. No, let's bring our brothers and sisters back on track. We have to be crutches for one another, not stumbling blocks. We have to find a way to elevate one another, not to suppress. So that's my whole purpose of the Lions Danivore podcast. I tried to like mix and match words like the Lions Den, and I don't know if I have to even explain that, but I'm ridiculous when it comes to all that word scramble type of thing.
All right. That all sounds really great. Now, I will say you don't have enough subscribers yet. So anybody that's watching needs to go over there and check out his channel and subscribe, because he's putting out some really good information. And, like you said, I've been on the live stream. He's had a lot of people. He's had Butter Bob on the live stream. He's had a lot of people on live stream with him. And he's putting out some good stuff. So go check it out. Again, it's right down here below me at Lions Danivore Podcast. So check that out.
Thank you.
Okay. I noticed we had a couple more people come in chat. Just real quick, gonna say hi to some more people here. So let's see. Where are we? Here we are. So Dustin is here. Keto Simple. Hello.
Dustin's great.
Christy.
Yep. Oh, Christy
from Meeting Wellness.
Yes.
So I had her on the live stream last week. I think we saw Lance earlier, but Lance is here. I think that is everybody that we just saw come in. Dustin has a question here, I think. How do we welcome the most people with open arms to help the most people? We have to be honest and understand what we're going to get, that we're going to get more people to low carb, single ingredients over keto carnivore. Yeah. I've always been very open to anybody doing anything to try and help themselves. Right. So definitely anybody that's doing anything low carb and any of the spectrums all the way up to Lion Diet, they're doing something to try and help their health. And I try and encourage them. And I completely get where you were talking about, just because somebody's doing something a little bit different, we shouldn't be trying to deter them and say, oh, you can't do it that way. You got to do it this way. Because that's gonna kind of alienate people, right? They're not gonna want to do the diet anymore in some cases, or they're gonna feel like they can't really communicate with people. And part of the big thing is this community that we have. Like everybody that you see, I can't point the right way, this way. Everybody you see down there in the chat, that's like right under you there.
Right.
They are, that's the best part of this, is that everybody gets together and talk and encourage themselves, encourage everybody and everything. That's part of the best part of it, This
community is outstanding. Like whenever I watch Dr. Kiltz in the morning, then Mitch at 7, it's such a great mix of different opinions, different views, great laughs sometimes. And you could see how we all get together when the negativity, like let's say if there's a troll or whatnot, we even ask the trolls questions. Like, hey, what's going on with you? Like, why are you so upset? Why are you so mad? Like, we're here to help, Oh, Kelly's in the house. What's up, Kelly?
Yeah. There's a lot of newer people dropping in just now.
No, I think it's important to keep this going,
Yeah.
And to me, just personally, it has to continue to be an extended part of family where we, like I said before, getting to know each other, just speaking the right word and never be dogmatic. I think that is where we get into a territory where it becomes nefarious. Because I think if we're going to learn from history, looking at, again, I'm sorry, I don't want to demonize the vegans, but it's a cult. It's not about, what's good for them or what's good for, it can't turn into a cult. And once it becomes religious, that's a problem. Because then we're really inadvertently going to start alienating people. This lifestyle is another route for better health for people that have tried everything and anything to get people well. But if we make it a us only, members only club, it's not going to work. I think what brought me here was this community, that they were all accepting. And even if you would bring something odd to the table, we would discuss it. And I think that's important. That's huge, that we all keep an open mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. So, Dustin says, we have to make sure that keto, carnivore, and others do not become like vegans. I think there are some that are close. You know, I've been doing this for a while, and obviously nobody longer than Rick, but I've been doing this for a while, close to 4 years now, and I've been watching YouTube videos and live streams and so forth. And I think a few years ago, there was probably more of that dogma
Yep.
type of feeling than there is now in this community.
Yeah.
There may still be a little bit of it, but it's not, I don't think, like what it was a few years ago. I think people have realized that they need to be more welcoming and I think part of the thing too is you lose some of that brain fog pretty quickly with this way of eating. And I think it helps you with your reasoning and you become more acceptable to listen to what others are doing that may be different from you and so forth. You know, like that's one of the things that I do all the time, even now. I look at different channels and try to pay attention to, and that's why also when I talk to people, what's one of the things I ask is how they eat, what they eat, how often they eat, that kind of stuff, because I like to hear the differences, how some people are, and maybe some of it I can incorporate myself and it'll help me better too.
Right.
So Cynthia asks, dogma in what way? I meant in terms of, I hope I'm using the term right, but in terms of that feeling that people saying that you have to do this, or if you say that you're eating this way, oh, well, that's not really carnivore, that type of thing, right? I don't feel that there is as much as that as there used to be a few years ago within the community.
And it's very easy to fall into that. It's super easy to fall into that mindset of putting all the work in, and then when someone brings their ideologies for a split second, one can say, well, that's not carnivore. That's not. I think the beauty of this way of living is the discerning factor of how to understand someone. Maybe they can't get to a level where you're at, as opposed to kind of pushing them away, help them alongside you, because you never know when you're going to need their help. Again, I don't know how life is going to go, right? My mindset is always to be on carnivore for the rest of my life. But like, let's say I become this judgmental person, and now that there's this negative narrative of this guy's a know-it-all, and now when I fall off and I come back, they can be like, oh no, here's this guy again. Here's Judas, you know? And I think we have to be very careful not to fall into that trap, because it can happen. It can easily happen where there's pride can kick in. Like, wow, I'm making all this progress. I'm making all this progress. And then all of a sudden you start looking down at people, as opposed to just continuing living eye to eye with people in understanding each other. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think I just make sure that I kind of forgetting what I was going to say, but that's okay.
I know what you're going to say.
I'm speechless.
You're going to say that
what?
The chat is awesome. That's what
there you go. What did Cynthia say? I see more bashing of those trying a bit different than strictly eating meat. Yeah. So one thing I was gonna say, it's kind of come back to me now. Just took me a minute, but was that I think too, you were talking about the trap that people get into. I think part of it too is as you continue on the journey, you're doing things differently than you were in the beginning.
Mm.
And sometimes when you're talking to people that are newer, you can run into that trap of, this is how I'm doing it. You should be doing it this way. But then it's like, but wait a minute, you didn't do it that way at the beginning. It's a lot easier to say, I'm doing it this way now because I've been doing this for so long, right? But I might not have been able to do certain things and so forth, right? Or just, I've evolved and I found these foods work for me. These foods don't. Even though this is carnivore, this still doesn't really work for me. Maybe like dairy, some people just can't do dairy and some people can, right? So I think people have to kind of remember that too. Like, people that are coming in aren't going to necessarily be at the same point you're at with it. And I think that's also for people that are newer on carnivore that are watching videos and stuff. They need to keep that same thought process in that, okay, I'm watching this and this person's saying they do that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's how I should do it. For one thing, that person's been doing this diet for 8 years, let's say, or something, right? 8 years ago, they were probably doing things a lot different. So it kind of works both ways, I guess, there. So yeah,
Without
I
a
don't
doubt.
know.
I agree wholeheartedly, without a doubt. You know, especially with the elimination diet part of its inception, right? To everyone's journey. I know with me, it was, man, I really need my cheeses, my Cheez-Its. I need my Coca-Cola, whatever the case was. And you start eliminating things, and there is a little bit of withdrawal, especially with the sugar. And you can't sleep. You're thinking about it, and then you slay that dragon. You're moving forward. You're like, okay, this is great, and then you're out in the clear. Especially when I was on Lion, and then it becomes a little trepidatious when you're like, all right, let me start including some foods back in. And by foods, I meant like still carnivore, still higher fat content than anything else. You try eggs. Let me, even bacon to a certain point, I have to look at the back of the label, make sure that there's no sugar. Like, to me, it's a complete turnoff when I look and I see the word sugar. It is synonymous to poison now. And I know not everyone is the same, but I have fully demonized the word sugar because of what it does to me in any form of it. Now, am I going to demonize vegetables and be like, oh, vegetables want to kill me? No, I can't. I can't be that, because I know vegetables may help someone else. But I know with me, a vegetable has a carbohydrate. It has just even a little bit. That little bit can spike up my insulin. Believe it or not, that's how sensitive I am. So I can't eat a tomato. I know in some parts it's a fruit. I don't even want to get into that one. And I'm Italian, it's a vegetable. All right, case closed. It's over. But I can't allow myself to incorporate those things in my life. I can't. As much as I used to love them. Like, for me, I'm a big watermelon fan. Like, that is my favorite fruit. But a normal person would eat maybe 3 wedges. Normal. 3 little triangle Illuminati slice. See, I have to demonize it. But I couldn't eat just 3 pieces. I would eat half. I would eat half a watermelon in one sitting. Non-stop. And I would feel my stomach expand. I would keep going. And to make matters worse, I would be watching eating competitions. Like, beard meets food. And I'm eating alongside with this guy trying to challenge down I don't know, a 10-foot burrito in a span of 10 minutes. And I'm like, I'm going to beat you, and it's not good. But that was my eating habits. But that's because I was allowing certain foods the green light. Now I'm at this stage where I can't. I have to be very meticulous on what my next step is, because I don't want to lose this. Brian, I don't want to lose what I have right now. And it's between the ears. And I'm going to bring something else up. Alzheimer's. We all know type 1 and type 2 diabetes, but type 3 diabetes. These are studies that they link sugar consumption with memory loss, Alzheimer's. And that runs in my family. I'm 44. I don't want my kids thinking that I'm a burden to them when I'm 80. Because I know the way how I was eating before, that would have led me there. I need to be on the straight and narrow, because this is more than go on a vacation and let myself go. These are the ramifications that can all accumulate over the course of time. So that's why, to me, finding carnivore, something that I don't know about you, Brian, but I don't get tired of eating a steak or bacon, eggs. I don't. Now, you know what the crazy part is? When you go online and you see these influencers are like, oh, I want to try the carnivore diet. Oh my goodness, it's 7 a.m. I'm eating 9 eggs and 7 pieces of bacon. 9 a.m. Now at 12 o'clock, I'm eating two big steaks. Now at 2 o'clock, I'm eating another steak. Oh my goodness, I don't know how these people do it. Then 5 o'clock, they're eating like half a cow. And then 8 o'clock, they're eating like 9 dozen eggs and a live pig. And they're like, oh, this ain't for me. They go to extremes. They go to an extreme where someone who really needs this way of life in order to heal, they look at these morons. I'm sorry. They look at them and they say, no, you know what? Carnivore is not for me. But they just did it just for clicks. And that's not the carnivore way. Carnivore way is, I think, how 90% of us are. We eat maybe once, twice, 3 times at max. But that's because we're hungry. We want to eat. It's not like we're self-indulging. But the food tastes so good. Like my steaks at night when I come home from work, it's like I'm eating for the first time. The very first time. I know that was a song in the 80s.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I could probably eat steak every day for the rest of my life. I never get tired of it. And, kind of along the lines what you're talking about is you really can't overeat this way, right? Yeah. It's really difficult. Like you get to that point that you're done. You can't eat anymore, but you don't feel bad. Like when you're eating, like your Italy trip pasta and stuff like that, you get to a point that you just feel horrible because you ate too much. That doesn't happen with this way of eating. And you might have a period of time that you don't really want to eat anything. You're like, yeah, I don't want any steak. But it's not that you don't like steak. It's just that you're not hungry. And then when you get hungry again, you want to eat it. So, yeah. I got a question for you real quick. Have you run into anything with family or friends kind of, I don't know if it's putting you down for the way you're eating, but saying like things like they're worried about your health, that kind of thing. You're eating too much red meat, your cholesterol, those types of things. Do you ever have to deal with that kind of stuff?
Yes, many times. Family on my side of the family, not really. My wife's side, they came to terms with it. They had questions at the beginning. Are you getting blood work? And I would say, there's no need. And it was like, very, are you sure? Like, you're eating high fat. Yeah, you're eating like a piece of cake. Like, right? Like, and it just doesn't make any sense. And now I have people, maybe coworkers, what are you doing? I'm eating just steak. Maybe one said, because you look great. Yeah, but you're eating high fat. That's any vegetables? No. Oh, how do you go to the bathroom? Like, don't you need fiber? I'm like, no, I have liquefied oil. There's lubrication. There's things going on there that it just slides right out. Not to be gross, but you don't need the fiber. You debunk fiber. So it becomes more, I want to say, a pushback, like, I don't think that's extreme. But say I was on GLP-1s, it would have been more acceptable with family, friends, coworkers, because it's what's hot right now, right? So, oh, wow, you lost how much? I lost 60 pounds. Oh, wow. Well, I'm doing the GLP-1s. Oh my gosh, that's great. As opposed to, I'd be careful if I were you. That's the other thing. We're not honest anymore in society to say, be careful. But when you eat a high fat diet, that comes out. But because of repetition, because of conditioning, because of how we have been placed in this crucible of life of fat is bad, high cholesterol is horrible, you need carbohydrates, your brain can only function on carbohydrates. So it's innate. They say it without even realizing it's bad for you. High cholesterol, as opposed to the GLP-1s, all these other diet pills that they have out there, that they have all these high-end athletes like Serena Williams. What are we doing here? I'm sorry, but if I was a multi-millionaire, I'd be having picanha at Meeting Wellness. You're welcome, Christy. I love picanha. Love that. But I would be having all of that good stuff. I'll be having my own chef. Oh my goodness. But to find me shooting up with like one of those GLP-1s, being a multimillionaire, that's crazy. And that makes me think, are they just putting on a show? Are they really taking it? I don't think so. I really don't think that Serena Williams is taking it. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I bet you she's getting paid to advertise, though.
Absolutely.
Oh gosh, Cynthia says she just starts gnawing on a meaty bone and growl. It freaks everyone out and they leave me alone.
I love it. That's what I got to start doing.
Yeah. Christy approves your message.
Yes, I love picanha because it has that fat kind of mohawk kind of thing that going on. So it's like one of my favorites.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. We're getting close to an hour and a half.
Yep.
So a couple of things really quick here. Next week, I will not have a live stream. So there won't be a live stream on next Wednesday, but I'll be back the Wednesday after that. I believe I already have a guest lined up for that live stream. But there won't be one next week. I will be preparing for my daughter's wedding. So she gets married the following, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So there'll be no live stream. So just keep that in mind. Dan, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. sharing your story and just the conversation we had. It's been great. I want to give you a couple minutes here to finish off the show, just kind of talking about whatever you want to talk about, and we'll close out the show that way.
Well, first off, Brian, thank you so much for, your professionalism through this, great host. So I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to share my story. And to the chat, thank you for just that positivity. And I think we all need that. And we're living in a world where we're bombarded with negativity, with just bullets flying of just bringing your emotions down and living in low energy and low vibration. I say screw that. Live your best life. Elevate others. Whatever you think you can do, you can do it. Don't ever say that I can't. If you can't do a pull-up, stop saying you can't. Just put your hands on the bar and just try. Sooner or later, you'll not only do one, but you'll do two, you'll do three, you'll do 4 to 10 to 20. But just don't let yourself be taken over by negativity. Don't do it. Don't let it. Don't give it your precious time here on earth. Continue being you, and you are made for so much more. God has a plan for you, and it's big.
All right. Well, thanks, Dan. Thank you, everybody. I guess I'll see you in 2 weeks. So goodbye, everybody.